UHD quality video streaming, internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber. UHD quality video streaming, internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
රින් වෙළඳපොලේ අඩුම මිලකට රුපියල් 199යි.
Tonight, at the heels of 2 acquittals, the Cardinal reiterates his lack of trust in the government in search of justice for Easter Sunday attack victims. Scant consolation. The chief suspects in the constable's murder still on the run as 4 arrested. Future of Ceylon tea. The tea board chairman busts myth about lack of replanting.
So when you have a mix of the VPTs, new teas and the orthodox, the seedlings, you get a better quality. The aroma, flavor profiles are very appealing to the consumers.
Aiming the top office. The opposition leader heralds his readiness to go before the international community to bring better economic prospects. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Saturday, the 19th of February 2022.
Nelly, මතකෙන් ගිලිහුණු black shiny කෙස් කලඹක රහස sunsilk black shine සමගින්.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Archbishop of Colombo. His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit continues to voice his disappointment at the government's failure to ensure justice for the Easter Sunday attack victims. Addressing a book launch today, the Cardinal stressed that it is obvious the government is concealing the truth behind the attack while protecting higher-ups in the police and the government. He added that now the Catholic community has lost trust in the government as well.
Yesterday, the Colombo High Court trial had announced the verdict with regard to the cases filed against former IGP Pujit Jayasundaram and former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando over the failure to prevent the Easter Sunday terror attacks of April 2019. The verdict was that both suspects were acquitted from their respective cases without even the evidence of the defence not being called. In delivering their judgment, the bench highlighted various failings in the investigation process and filing of charges. The verdict also caught the public off guard, with there being criticism for certain quarters before the verdict that the government was protecting the true culprits by pinning the blame on the former IGP and the former Defence Secretary. A day later, this morning, the book titled Titha, which is a compilation of reports on the Easter Sunday attack, including the report prepared by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, was launched by the National Catholic Social Communication Centre. Addressing the event virtually, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit expressed his disappointment at the present government's failure to ensure justice for the attack victims.
මේ ප්‍රහාරය සිදු වෙනවා කියන එක පිළිබඳව හොඳින් දැනගෙන හිටියා බුද්ධි අංශවල නිලධාරීන්, පොලිසිය උසස් නිලධාරීන්. ඒ පිළිබඳව සාක්ෂි අපි ගාව තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභා වාර්තාවේ මේ පිළිබඳව පැහැදිලිවම සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් මේ ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභා වාර්තාව පදනම් වෙලා තියෙන ජනාධිපති කොමිෂන් සභාවේදී දුන්නු සාක්ෂි පදනම් කරගෙනයි. නමුත් ඒ කොමිෂන් සභාවේ දුන්නු සාක්ෂි මේ රජය සහ මේ නීතිපතිතුමා ඒක හංගලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වෙලුම් කීපය අපි ඉල්ලලා ලිපි යවලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව අපව දැනුවත් කරන්න කියලා තියෙනවා. ඉල්ලීම් කරලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒ කිසිම ඉල්ලීමක් සලකන්නේ නැතිව ඒ සාක්ෂි සංගවා තැබීමට මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා හිටපු රජයත් දැන් ඉන්න රජයත් කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ කොමිෂන් සභා වාර්තාවේ පදනම අනුව අපිට මේ පුද්ගලයන් ගැන සත්‍යය හෙළිදරව් කර ගැනීමේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් මතුවලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට කොමිෂන් සභා වාර්තා පැහැදිලිවම යම් යම් පුද්ගලයන් මේ පිළිබඳව දැනගෙන ඉඳලා ඒකට කිසි දෙයක් කළේ නැහැයි කියලා ඒ අයට විරුද්ධව නීතිමය වශයෙන් කටයුතු කරන්නයි කියලා ඉල්ලීමක් කරලා තියෙද්දි දැන් සිදු වෙන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නීතිපතිතුමාගේ සහ නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ වැරදි හැසිරීම නිසා ඒ යුක්තිය ඉෂ්ට නොවන තත්වයකට පත්වීමයි. ඒ ගැන අපි ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම බලවත්සේ කනගාටුවට පත් වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි මේ රජය අපිට දුන්නු පොරොන්දු මේ පිළිබඳව එකක්වත් ඉෂ්ට කරලා නැති බව පැහැදිලිවම ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ සහරාන් හෂීම්ගේ කණ්ඩායමත් සමග වක්‍රව ගනුදෙනු කරපු ඇතැම් පුද්ගලයන්ට විරුද්ධව නඩු පැවරීමට කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒවත් හරියට කෙරෙනවද කියලා අපි දන්නේ නැහැ. අනිත් අතින් ඒ වගේම මේ කාරණාව සම්බන්ධව පැහැදිලිවම දැනගෙන හිටලා ඒ පිළිබඳව වළක්වන්නට මුකුත් නොකරපු රාජ්‍ය නායකයෝ සහ උසස් බුද්ධි අංශවල නිලධාරීන් මෙන්ම උසස් පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් ආරක්ෂා කරලා ඔවුන්ට උසස් වීම ලබා දීලා මේ නීතියේ වැඩපිළිවෙල සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම විහිළුවක තත්වයට පත් කරලා තියෙනවා දැන් ඉන්න රජය. ඒක මම කෙලින්ම ඒ අයට චෝදනා කරනවා මේ සම්බන්ධව. ඒ නිසා අපේ අධිෂ්ඨානයේ ශක්තිමත් කරගත යුතුයි. කවදා හරි දවසක අපිත් නැතුව මේ රජයේ නායකයොත් නැතුව ඉස්සරහට එන්න තියෙන රජයකින් හෝ මේ යුක්තිය අපිට ඉෂ්ට වෙනවා නම් ඒක එදාට සිදු වෙන්නකම් අපි බලාගෙන ඉමු කියන හැඟීම තමයි අපිට තියෙන්නේ. දැන් තියෙන රජය ගැන හෝ දැන් තියෙන මේ නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව ගැන හෝ කිසිදු විශ්වාසයක් අපිට තබන්නට බැරි බව දැන් පැහැදිලිව පේනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒ ගැන කනගාටු වෙනවා.
The Buddhist Advisory Council says that procedure of registering new places of worship needs further discussion, with each religion given specific focus. These views were expressed when the council convened yesterday under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Also speaking there, the Commissioner General of Archaeology said that the amended archaeological ordinance can be presented to Parliament in the next few months.
The Buddhist Advisory Council met at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Extensive discussions were held with regard to the Vihara and Devalagam Act, surveying of lands owned by the Department of Archaeology in the north and east, and the amendment of the Archaeological Ordinance, construction and maintenance of new places of worship, and the conduct of Sunday Dhamma schools. Surveyor General Adirratna Disanayake said that a total of 484 requests have been received for surveying of archaeological sites in the eastern province, and added that surveying of 64 of them have been completed and plans are prepared for 22 sites. It was also revealed during the discussions that the procedures to be followed in respect of each religion should be taken into consideration separately in the registration of a new place of worship, and arriving at a final conclusion with this regard needs further discussion. Attention was also paid in allowing the registration of Buddhist temples on the recommendation of the chief prelate of the relevant sect and the registrar of the zonal council in charge of the protection of the Buddha Sasana. The Buddhist clergy said that the registration of temples located on sites with artifacts should be done under the recommendation and supervision of the Department of Archaeology. On the Archaeological Ordinance, Commissioner General of Archaeology Professor Anura Manatunga said that the decision taken to amend the Archaeological Ordinance was reviewed and added that the Act could be presented in Parliament in the next few months. Meanwhile, the second interim report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry for appraisal of the findings of previous commissions and committees and the way forward was handed over to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa by its chairman Supreme Court Judge AHMD Nawaz yesterday. The Commission of Inquiry was appointed by the President on the 21st of January 2021 to investigate, inquire into the report or take necessary actions on findings of proceedings commissions or committees appointed to investigate human rights violations, serious violations of international humanitarian law and other such offences.
The Sri Lanka Tea Board is taking proactive measures to arrest the decline in annual tea production in Sri Lanka, with a soil fertility management strategy coupled with replanting and refilling programs already underway. Speaking to Indivari Amwantha on our current affairs program at Hyde Park on AdaDerana 24, Tea Board Chairman Jayampathy Molligoda noted that topsoil erosion at the most of the high-grown tea plantations is also a contributory factor in the production decline.
We are actually reaping the benefits of tea and these plants that have been planted a century or more ago. What's the strategy on replantation? Is that possible? How do we mitigate the challenges and the loss of revenue as a result of the period during replantation?
I would call it as replanting and infilling programs as opposed to just mere replanting. Two things. One is the replanting cost of bringing 1 hectare into bearing for new replanting is costly. costly. You don't get the real return on investment.
And most of these plantations might not be able to afford it.
No, they have been doing it for roughly around 1% of the replanting. Ideally, on the basis of economic lifespan of 30 years, 33 years, you need to do 3%. But the other side of the coin is the so-called old seedling teas. The quality-wise, it's very good. So when we were at the plantations, we did some experiments, and TRI also did. So when you have a mix of the VP teas, new teas, and the orthodox, the seedlings, you get a better quality. The aroma, flavor profiles are very appealing to the consumers. So that is why you need some kind of orthodox seedling tea also for orthodox tea manufacture. But having said that, the production has been declining partly due to our stakeholders not undertaking replanting. That is true. So tea board, we have this tea promotion and marketing levy money collected. We started accelerating this nursery, quality nursery programs, and also the infilling program. 73% of the production comes from tea smallholders. So even their VPs, there are block infilling can be done, and they have started doing that. So rather than uprooting the old seedling teas, the strategy is mainly focusing on the infilling together with replanting. When the tea fields are not giving adequate returns, say for instance in terms of yield per hectare, productivity say less than 800 kilos per year, very low, then the management allows the planters to uproot the tea and start replanting. But more importantly, the vacant patches, you would have seen over 1 acre vacant patches, you remove one small tea bush or one or two, and then you go for infilling. It's more or less mini replanting. So this replanting, again, it's a misconception that we don't undertake replanting. Now we have accelerated the infilling and the replanting, but to do that you need quality nurseries. So the starting point is nurseries. If you don't have nurseries, so for nurseries you need the mother bushes, cuttings.
Are we managing this well? Is this on course?
Yes.
What is the progress of the replantation?
Very good progress during the last 1.5 to 2 years, and about 50 million plants coming out from the nurseries this year.
The tea board chairman Jampati Molligoda also spoke about the importance of improving the productivity in a backdrop where the likes of India and Kenya have seen a steady increase in their tea production, with especially labour in those countries coming more cheaply.
There are two aspects. One is the production and the other one is the productivity. So what is more important is the productivity, because when you have, say, instead of getting 1,300 kilograms of made tea from a 1 hectare, if you get 1,600, your cost of production per kilo comes down. So that is the key. So the export competitiveness lies with the cost leadership strategy also, but there is a limit. I must tell you, in year 2000 we were producing over 304 million kilos. Another 10 years later, in 2010, we went up to 328 million kilos, and then we peaked at 2013, if I remember correct, 338 million kilos. Since then there had been a gradual decline in the tea production and the productivity. The extents have not come down, but the productivity has come down, partly because we have not been able to do replanting, high quality clones and all cultivars, but more importantly, we have not been able to adopt the mitigating strategies for the ill effects of the climate change. In that context only, we need to relook at this application of chemical fertilizer and all these things, because TRI has done a study, and good news is we are going to declare 2022 and 2023 as the year of soil restoration year. The name of the game is the soil fertility management strategy, integrated soil fertility management strategy. To improve the topsoil, you need the carbon matter, soil organic matter. There's a little low emphasis on the NPK, but more importantly, the carbon content, carbon nitrogen ratio is of paramount import. Unfortunately, our tea estates, especially the high grounds, the carbon content is less than 2. I'm not saying you must go for forest reserves carbon content. No, it's about 2.83. So how do you do that? Simple, but it's complex to practice, because you need large amount of organic matter. So that is why they adopt what is known as good agricultural practice. In Sri Lanka, there is a Sri Lankan standard, like good manufacturing practices. You have multiple strategies, starting from the low shade, the mid shade and the high shade. Then you need green manure, the mulching. That will improve the topsoil. Now unfortunately, if you go to up country, you can see the topsoil is somewhat gone. To the credit of regional plantation companies, they are addressing that issue.
We'll see you shortly. Stay with us.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Tangle police apprehended 4 suspects involved in the murder of police constable Chaturanga Dilshan today. After being produced before the acting Tangle magistrate, the suspects were ordered to be remanded for 14 days. The chief suspects, however, are not among the arrested and they continue to be on the run.
On Thursday, a police constable attached to the police station at the Kasagala interchange on the Southern Expressway died during an altercation with a group of people in the area of Vitharandaniya in Tangle. A group of 16 people assaulted the 34-year-old constable Chaturanga Dilshan and his brother. The latter is in critical condition and is receiving treatment at the Karapitiya hospital. The incident had occurred after the owner of a hotel nearby, which is under construction, and the constable's neighbour who shares a border with the constable visited his house. It is reported that the constable and his neighbour did not see eye to eye, and there had been provocative behaviour from the neighbour's side for some time. On the night of the incident, when the hotel owner and the constable's neighbour visited the constable's house, the construction workers at the hotel site too had come and supported their pay matter in assaulting the constable. Prior to the incident, the hotel owner, who is a frequent traveller overseas, had returned to the country recently and had hosted a party for the hotel construction workers, which was also attended by the constable's neighbour. Though the beating started at the constable's house, the mob dragged him and his brother to the hotel site, and the beating that ensued resulted in the death of the constable. Though all the suspects absconded, the Tangle police launched an investigation last night and was able to arrest 4 suspects involved with the murder today. It is also revealed that the hotel owner had an extramarital relationship with the constable's neighbour, a woman. The police said that the mother of the hotel owner's mistress is too among the suspects arrested today for aiding and abetting the hotel owner and his mistress to perpetrate the crime, facilitating their escape in a 3-wheeler. The 4 suspects were produced before the acting Tangle magistrate today and they were remanded for 14 days. The police said that the root cause of the initial altercation had been a land dispute and a long-standing personal grudge. Investigations are underway to arrest the hotel owner and his mistress, who remain at large. In the meantime, a group of unidentified people had reportedly damaged and set fire to the homes of the suspects in remand custody, the hotel and the home of the hotel owner's mistress.
In other local stories, the Sri Lankan Navy seized an Indian boat with 6 fishermen while poaching in Sri Lankan waters today. They were arrested in seas northwest of the Kovilan lighthouse in Jaffna. The suspects were arrested during a patrol conducted by a fast attack craft of the 4th Fast Attack Flotilla attached to the Northern Naval Command in seas northwest of the Kovilan lighthouse. The Navy have made arrangements to hand over the Indian fishing vessel and the fishermen arrested during the operation to the relevant authorities. So far, in the month of February, the Navy have seized 6 Indian fishing vessels, along with 29 fishermen while poaching in Sri Lankan waters. Leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, expresses his readiness to go before the international community to save the country from what he termed a debt trap, if and when he becomes the head of state.
The 46th leg of the program Husmak, worked off by the Samgi Janabalavege, was held at the Piliyandala MOH today under the patronage of its leader, Sajith Premadasa. The leader of the opposition handed over a 3-wheeler worth 1.2 million rupees to the Piliyandala MOH.
කොයි කාලෙද මේ රටේ දේශපාලන ඉතිහාසයේ විපක්ෂයේ ඉඳගෙන මිලියන 126.4ක් රෝහල් උපකරණ රෝහල් වලට පරිත්‍යාග කරලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේ අලුත් වැඩ කරනකොට අර පරණ ක්‍රම වලට පුරුදු අය මේකට ගල් ගහනවා. සජිත් දන්නේ බෙදිල්ල විතරයි. දැන් හෙට අනිදා ඔබතුමාලට බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් ඉන්ධන මිල කොච්චර ඉහළ යයිද කියලා. හැම තැනම ධන නෙවෙයි ඍණ. දැන් පේනවද දෙපැත්ත? කතාව ගහම්බීර වෙන්න පුළුවන්. වැඩ බෑ. මට තියෙන සුපිරි විශ්වාසයක් මේ රටේ නායකයා හැටි ලෝකේ ජාත්‍යන්තරයත් එක්ක ශක්තිමත් ගනුදෙනුවකට ගිහිල්ලා රට පාවා දෙන්නේ නැතුව රටේ ඉඩම් විකුණන්නේ නැතුව මේ නිර්මාණය වෙලා තිබෙන ණය මර උගුලෙන් ගොඩවීමේ ඒ වැඩපිළිවෙල අපි සතුව තිබෙනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි. ඔව් අපිට පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ගමන ලේසි නැහැ. ගමන බොහොම අමාරුයි. ඒකත් මම කියන්නට ඕන.
Welcome back to First at 9. Now, oil prices ended the week mixed yesterday as investors weighed a potential supply disruption resulting from the Russia-Ukraine crisis against the prospect of increased Iranian oil exports. Brent crude futures settled 57 cents higher at $93.54 a barrel, while US West Texas Intermediate crude ended down 69 cents at $91.07 a barrel. Both benchmarks hit their highest levels since September 2014 on Monday, but growing prospects of easing oil sanctions against Iran has weighed on the market. Brent posted a small 0.9% rise in its ninth weekly gain, while the WTI fell 1.7% for the week, snapping an 8-week rally. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.